I hit a ceiling last month. It wasn't some dramatic burnout. It was just the math of a typical Tuesday. I was losing about 4 hours a day to what I call administrative friction, the endless back and forth of scheduling, manual data entry into my CRM, and the constant triage of an inbox that never seems to sleep. I needed an assistant, but I wanted to see if I could solve the problem with architecture instead of a salary. So I set up an experiment with very specific parameters. The AI wasn't just going to summarize emails, it was going to own the workflow. Its mandate covered 3 core areas: managing my calendar, filtering high-priority client inquiries, and updating my CRM based on the actual context of those conversations.
The stakes were high because this wasn't a simulation. I didn't use dummy data or test clients. I handed over the keys to my actual business operations, real people, real projects, and real revenue. If the system messed up a meeting time or sent a tone-deaf reply to a long-term partner, I'd be the one dealing with the fallout. I wanted to see if an autonomous agent could handle the nuance of human professional relationships, or if care is simply something code can't replicate. To understand if this was a viable solution or a recipe for disaster, I had to look past the marketing and get into the literal mechanics of the build. That build started with the software stack. Moving from a standard chat window to a functioning assistant meant building infrastructure, not just sending prompts.
I used GPT-4o for the decision-making, but it needed a way to interact with my actual tools. I used Make.com to connect the model to my inbox, calendar, and CRM. This turned the AI from a simple conversationalist into a coordinator that could move data between apps. The core of the setup was the system prompt. I had to move away from a simple list of chores and instead document the nuances of my own professional judgment. This meant codifying things I usually do by instinct, like knowing when to prioritize a long-term partner over a cold lead, or defining the exact point where a technical issue is serious enough to need my personal attention. In my work at AutoBiz AI, we treat this as a calibration process rather than a simple installation. I spent hours refining the instructions to ensure the agent understood the difference between a polite no and a firm "not right now." I wanted to see if the system could maintain a professional, accessible tone without sounding like a flat corporate manual. Once the connections were verified and the instructions were set, the system went live. I stepped away from the keyboard, expecting a quiet period while the automation settled in, but I didn't have to wait long to see the system in action. The first real test hit my inbox about 4 hours into the experiment. It was a reply from a high-value lead I've been talking to for weeks.
They sent what's known as a soft rejection. The email essentially said, "We love the proposal, but our Q3 budget just got frozen. Can we touch base again in October?" A human assistant hears the "we love the proposal" part and understands the subtext. You respond with warmth, maybe offer to lock in current pricing, or just keep the conversation friendly to maintain the connection. But the AI saw a binary condition. In its logic layer, budget frozen plus October triggered a specific workflow, delayed lead. It fired off a response in less than 3 minutes. It was technically polite, but jarringly cold. It said, "Understood. I have noted your budget constraints. I will contact you on October 1st to resume this discussion. Please let me know if anything changes before then." The AI did exactly what I told it to do. It processed the data and scheduled the follow-up. But in the real world of business development, the result was total silence. The client didn't reply. All the rapport I'd built over the previous month was replaced by the clinical efficiency of a form letter. I call this the context trap. It's the point where code fails to read between the lines. The AI wasn't wrong in its logic. It just lacked the social intelligence to realize that a business relationship isn't just a sequence of data points.
It treated a delicate negotiation like a routine status update. I realized then that the problem wasn't the AI's ability to write, it was the instruction logic I had built. The system was functioning exactly as designed, which was the reason it was failing. To fix this, I had to stop treating the AI like a clerk and start re-engineering the way it weighed information. I knew I couldn't just give the AI more data, I had to give it a sense of doubt. I went back into the architecture, specifically the bridge between the OpenAI API and Make.com, to build what I call the nuance filter. The first step was a sentiment analysis check.
If an incoming email contained signs of frustration or high-level negotiation, the AI was no longer allowed to hit send. Instead, it triggered a human-in-the-loop protocol. It would draft a response, move it to a pending review folder, and ping me on Slack with a breakdown of why it flagged the message. It wasn't just stopping the process, it was justifying the pause. The real shift, however, was teaching the AI to flag its own uncertainty. I updated the system prompt to require a confidence score for every action. If the AI wasn't at least 90% sure it understood the client's underlying intent, it had to stop and ask for clarification. This moved the workflow away from blind execution and towards risk management.
If you want to see the visual logic maps I use to build these triggers and how the API calls are structured, I've broken them all down in the AutoBiz AI newsletter. It's one thing to hear the theory, but seeing how the nodes actually connect is where the logic becomes practical. With these guardrails live, the system was technically sound, but a workflow is only as good as its performance under pressure. 72-hour window was closing, and it brought the most difficult task yet, a multi-variable situation I hadn't even scripted for. The final test hit my inbox at 4:15 p.m. on day 3. It was a request from a high-value lead that functioned as a total logic trap. They wanted to move forward on a $5,000 retainer, but they had 3 specific conditions. They wanted to apply a discount code from a campaign we ran 4 months ago, they needed to split the invoice across 2 different billing entities, and they had to find a gap in my schedule that didn't clash with their own internal strategy week. To a human assistant, this is a 30-minute deep dive. You're searching through archived emails for promo details, checking the CRM to see if the client was actually eligible, and then cross-referencing a calendar that honestly was a mess. But the AI didn't blink. Because I'd connected the assistant to my entire data stack, it didn't just read the email, it audited the request against my entire business history. The back-end logs showed a clear sequence. Step 1, the system queried the database and confirmed the July promo was specifically for founding members. Step 2, it checked the client's tag in the CRM and verified they met the criteria. Step 3, it scanned my calendar, identified a strategy week block the client had mentioned in an email thread from weeks ago, and found the only 2-hour window that worked for both of us. The response it drafted wasn't just fast, it was surgically precise. It said, "Since you're part of our founding members group, I've applied the 15% July credit. I've also generated 2 separate payment links for your records and blocked out Thursday at 10 a.m., which avoids your team's strategy week sessions." That was the moment the investigation shifted.
We weren't looking at a chatbot anymore. We were looking at a logic engine that, in this specific instance, had more context and better recall than I did. It solved a complex problem in 6 seconds that would have drained a human's mental energy for the rest of the afternoon. But as impressive as this win was, we still have to look at the overall performance to see if it's actually worth it. Let's look at the cold, hard numbers. Over 72 hours, the AI handled 47 distinct interactions for a total cost of just under $2. That's roughly 4 cents per task. Compare that to a standard virtual assistant. Even at a modest hourly rate, you're looking at closer to $12 per task once you factor in the time spent on context switching and manual entry. On paper, the cost-to-output ratio isn't even a contest. But there's a hidden variable the spreadsheet doesn't capture, what I call trust debt. Throughout the experiment, I realized I was paying a constant tax in mental energy. Every time a high-stakes email went out, I found myself double-checking the logs, wondering if the machine had followed a literal instruction into a dead end. With a human, you aren't just paying for their time, you're paying for their judgment. With an autonomous agent, you're essentially supervising a very fast, very literal processor that doesn't always know how to read the room. This realization shifts the conversation about the human role. If the AI can handle the logistical heavy lifting for pennies, the assistant's job has to evolve. We're moving away from administrative support and towards system management. The value isn't in the typing anymore, it's in the empathy and the ability to handle the 5% of situations where logic isn't the right tool. It's less about doing the work and more about directing the system that does. After 3 days of watching the logs and hovering over the stop button, the question wasn't whether the technology worked. It was whether I actually wanted to live with the trade-off. So, what's the final verdict? If you're looking for a perfect replica of human judgment, the technology isn't there yet.
That cold, overly logical email that almost cost me a client proved that emotional nuance is still a human monopoly. But if you're asking if AI can handle the heavy lifting, the answer is a resounding yes. AI doesn't replace the assistant, it replaces the workflow. I didn't end this experiment by cutting back on my team, I upgraded their focus. We've moved from manual labor to systems architecture. The assistant is no longer a data entry clerk, they are the director of the logic.
This investigation confirms that the human in the loop isn't just a safety net, it's the new gold standard for a scalable business. Case closed.